If you ate 2 eggs this morning for muscle protein, you activated less than half the biological switch required to build a single gram of new muscle. At age 72, that switch, a cellular gate called mTOR, needs roughly 3 grams of one specific amino acid to open. 2 eggs give you about 1.1 grams. You didn't fail at nutrition, you failed at threshold, and until this video, nobody told you the threshold even existed. Muscle is not built by eating protein. That sentence sounds wrong, so read it again. Protein is the raw material, but raw material sitting in your bloodstream doesn't become muscle until a specific cellular pathway gets activated, and that pathway has a name, a location, and a minimum dose. The pathway is called mTORC1, mechanistic target of rapamycin complex 1. It sits inside your muscle cells and functions as a master switch for muscle protein synthesis, the process by which your body actually builds new contractile tissue. When mTORC1 is off, the protein you eat gets used for other things: energy, organ repair, immune function. When it's on, a fraction of that protein gets redirected into building new muscle fiber. The trigger for that switch is a single branch-chain amino acid, leucine, not protein in general, leucine specifically. It binds to a sensor inside the cell and flips mTORC1 into the build position. Below a certain dose, the switch stays off, no matter how much total protein you ate. Above that dose, the switch fires and muscle protein synthesis rises measurably above baseline. In a 25-year-old, that dose is small. Roughly 1 to 2 grams of leucine is enough to clear the gate. In an adult, over 70, the dose required is 2 to 3 times higher. This isn't a guess, it's a measured, graded phenomenon researchers call anabolic resistance. Aging muscle becomes progressively less sensitive to the same amino acid signal, and the threshold required to trigger an equivalent response climbs with it. Stuart Phillips at McMaster University has spent 2 decades studying exactly this: how protein quality and dose interact with resistance exercise to drive muscle changes in older adults. His research, along with a 2013 trial by Wall and colleagues published in Clinical Nutrition, found that adding extra leucine on top of a standard protein meal measurably improved muscle protein accretion in elderly men. Proof that the threshold isn't theoretical, it's something you can move with the right food. So, here's your first diagnostic. Pull up what you ate right now. Count the protein grams. Most people stop there. I want you to count something else, the leucine, because the protein number was never the number that mattered. The leucine number was, but knowing the switch exists doesn't tell you why your switch specifically got harder to flip. And that answer isn't about willpower, it's about a receptor. Anabolic resistance isn't a vague side effect of getting older, it's mechanical, and it has 3 identifiable causes. The first is blunted mTOR phosphorylation. In a younger cell, leucine binding produces a sharp, immediate cascade of chemical signals down the mTOR pathway. In an older cell, that same binding event produces a weaker cascade. The chemical message gets sent, but it arrives muffled. The cell received the order, it just doesn't execute it as forcefully. The second cause is slower amino acid delivery. After you eat, protein gets broken down in your gut and absorbed into your bloodstream, a process called splanchnic uptake. In older adults, this absorption slows down. More of the ingested amino acids get retained and used by the gut and liver before they ever reach your muscle tissue. So even if you eat the same meal as a 30-year-old, less of that leucine actually arrives at the muscle cell to do its job. The third cause is chronic low-grade inflammation, sometimes called inflammaging. Inflammatory signaling molecules compete for some of the same intracellular real estate that mTOR uses, effectively creating background noise that makes the leucine signal harder to hear. Put those 3 together: weaker signal reception, slower delivery, more interference, and you get a muscle cell that needs roughly double the leucine dose to produce the same anabolic response a younger cell gets from half that amount. Now, here's the nuance, and it matters because I'm not going to oversell this to you. Researchers at the University of Texas Medical Branch Institute for Translational Sciences, led by Elena Volpe and Blake Rasmussen, ran a larger, longer study specifically testing this in healthy, moderately active adults aged 65 to 85. What they found surprised even them. In that population, with a small dose of essential amino acids containing under 2 grams of leucine, there was no measurable anabolic resistance at all. Their conclusion was direct. Anabolic resistance may not be a significant problem in healthy, active older adults, and adequate dietary protein may be sufficient on its own. What does that mean for you? It means the threshold isn't a life sentence. Resistance training and consistent protein intake appear to partially restore the sensitivity that sedentary aging erodes. The muscle that uses leucine efficiently is the muscle that's still being asked to work. This is mechanical, not fated. So the threshold moves. The question is no longer whether you can hit it, it's which foods get you there fastest. And the food you trust most for this job is mechanically one of the weakest tools in the kitchen. Eggs are not bad protein. I need to say that clearly before I take them apart, because what's wrong with eggs isn't quality, it's dose density. One large egg contains roughly 0.6 grams of leucine. 2 eggs, a standard breakfast, give you about 1.1 grams. Compare that to the 3 to 4 gram threshold an adult over 70 typically needs to clear in a single sitting to maximally trigger mTOR. To get there on eggs alone, you would need 6 to 7 eggs in one meal, not over a day, in one sitting. Before you account for the cholesterol load, the gastric volume, or the simple fact that almost nobody is doing this. This is where I want you to notice something about your own habits, because it's not really about eggs. It's about every food you've trusted on reputation rather than dose. Eggs have a 100-year health halo, complete protein, all 9 essential amino acids, all true, and almost irrelevant to whether your specific meal on a specific morning at age 73 actually crossed the gate your muscle cells required to build anything. A complete protein at an incomplete dose still produces an incomplete response. This is the part of the video where I need you to sit with a slightly uncomfortable idea. Your comfort food is hiding the deficit, not solving it. You feel like you're doing the right thing. The habit feels healthy. The label says high in protein. And underneath that feeling, the actual cellular gate has been closed for years, quietly, while you assumed it was open. So if eggs can't get you there efficiently, what can? 8 foods clear that 3-gram gate in a single realistic serving, and each one does it through a different mechanism. We're going in order from the fastest spike to the longest protection. The first 2 proteins on this list are whey and native whey, and they exist in their own tier because nothing else comes close to their speed. Whey protein is roughly 10 to 13.6% leucine by weight, the highest concentration of any common food source, animal or plant. A standard 25 to 30 gram scoop clears 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine on its own, comfortably above threshold even for an older adult in a single serving that takes 30 seconds to drink. Native whey is a specific variant worth knowing. It's produced by filtering raw, unprocessed milk directly rather than as a byproduct of cheese production, which is how standard whey concentrate is typically made. That gentler processing preserves more of the protein's native structure and leucine content intact, giving it a slightly sharper anabolic signal than regular whey concentrate in head-to-head trials. The mechanism that makes whey unique isn't just the leucine content, it's the speed of digestion. Whey is absorbed rapidly, producing what researchers call a sharp, high-amplitude spike in blood leucine, technically termed leucinemia. Whitted and colleagues, publishing in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2014, measured myofibrillar muscle protein synthesis rates in response to increasing whey doses both at rest and after resistance exercise, and found a clear dose-dependent rise. More whey, more synthesis, up to a clear ceiling around 30 to 40 grams. Here's the timeline, so you can verify this against your own body instead of taking my word for it. Drink a whey shake. Blood leucine peaks at roughly 60 to 90 minutes after ingestion. Muscle protein synthesis stays elevated above baseline for approximately 3 hours. After that window, MPS returns to baseline regardless of how much more you eat. The gate doesn't stay open indefinitely just because more protein arrives. This is why whey's ideal use case is the 1 to 2 hour window immediately following resistance exercise, when the muscle sensitivity to the signal is already elevated by the mechanical stimulus of training. Whey wins on speed, But speed isn't always what 70-year-old muscle needs. Sometimes the body needs the opposite, a slow, sustained drip that protects muscle while you sleep. The next two proteins, cottage cheese and Greek yogurt, work through a completely different mechanism, and understanding why matters more than the food itself. Both are dominated by casein, a slow-digesting milk protein. Where whey forms a thin solution that empties from your stomach quickly, casein forms a dense, semi-solid gel when it hits the acidic environment of your stomach. That gel slows gastric emptying dramatically, which means instead of a sharp spike, casein produces a long, low, steady release of amino acids into your bloodstream, stretched out over 5 to 7 hours instead of 2 to 3. This matters because muscle protein synthesis is only half the equation. The other half is muscle protein breakdown, which continues constantly, including overnight while you sleep and aren't eating anything at all. A slow casein drip doesn't just feed synthesis, it actively suppresses breakdown by keeping circulating amino acid levels elevated through the entire fasting window. Researchers describe this as anti-catabolic protection, and it becomes disproportionately important in older adults because overnight muscle breakdown appears to accelerate with age. At the same time, daytime synthesis becomes harder to trigger. You're losing more at night and building less during the day. Casein is one of the few tools that directly targets the nighttime half of that equation. 1 cup of cottage cheese delivers roughly 2.8 grams of leucine, nearly at threshold, in a single bedtime serving, released over the exact hours your body needs protection most. Here's your second diagnostic. Think back to your last meal before bed last night. If it was carbohydrates alone, or nothing at all, your muscles spent 7 to 9 hours in net breakdown, completely uncontested. No signal was holding the gate open. That's not a guess about your specific physiology. It's the default state of a fasting muscle cell with no circulating amino acids to slow the process down. Speed and duration solve the timing problem, but there's a third variable most people over 70 have never addressed, and it has nothing to do with how much leucine is in the food. It's about how much of that leucine your gut actually lets through. Salmon and lean beef belong in their own category because they don't just deliver leucine, they deliver cofactors that change how effectively your body can use it. Salmon contains roughly 1.8 grams of leucine per 100 grams, meaning a standard 150-gram fillet clears approximately 3 grams on its own, squarely at the older adult threshold. But the more interesting mechanism is what salmon brings alongside that leucine, EPA, and DHA. The omega-3 fatty acids it's known for. These fats appear to independently enhance the muscle's anabolic response to amino acids in older adults, not by replacing leucine's signal, but by acting as a co-stimulus that amplifies it. Think of leucine as the key and omega-3s as something that makes the lock easier to turn. Lean beef works through a parallel but distinct mechanism. Rondinelli and colleagues in a 2021 review found that animal-sourced proteins, including beef, consistently outperform plant proteins in leucine density per gram, making them particularly valuable in clinical protocols specifically designed to treat sarcopenia. But beef's second advantage is creatine. Intramuscular creatine supports phosphocreatine resynthesis, the rapid energy system your muscles draw on during resistance training. More available creatine means more capacity for the high-effort training output that creates the mechanical stimulus muscle protein synthesis needs in order to convert into actual measurable hypertrophy, rather than just maintenance. This is the piece most lists miss entirely. They rank proteins purely by leucine grams, as if the body were a calculator. It isn't. A gram of leucine delivered alongside anti-inflammatory fats and usable creatine produces a different downstream outcome than the same gram delivered alone, even though the leucine number on the label looks identical. 5 proteins down, all animal-sourced. If you eat meat and dairy, you're covered. If you don't or won't, the next 2 foods prove the threshold can be cleared without a single animal product, but only if you stack the math correctly. Plant proteins, gram for gram, contain less leucine than animal proteins. That's not opinion. It's consistent across every comparison in the literature, but 2 specific plant sources close that gap enough to matter, and most people relying on plant protein have never been told which 2. Tempeh, fermented soybean, delivers more than 2 grams of leucine and 33 grams of total protein per cup, making it one of the only single whole food plant sources capable of approaching threshold in one realistic serving. Tofu reaches 2.4 grams of leucine in a 200-gram portion, and pea protein isolate, the processed form rather than whole peas, delivers roughly 3 grams of leucine per 1.5 scoops, clearing even the elevated older adult threshold entirely on its own. The mechanism worth naming here is the limiting amino acid problem. Most whole legumes are methionine limited. They're missing enough of a different essential amino acid to cap how efficiently the protein gets used, regardless of total grams. Pea protein isolate sidesteps part of this issue through processing that concentrates the branched-chain amino acid specifically, which is exactly why it outperforms whole peas, lentils, or chickpeas by a wide margin on a gram-for-gram basis. And this is where I need to confront an assumption directly, because it's the plant-based version of the egg problem from earlier in this video. Black beans deliver only 1.4 grams of leucine per cup. Lentils deliver 1.3 grams. Both feel like good protein, and both eaten alone leave you well under threshold, exactly the way 2 eggs did. If beans and lentils have been your primary protein strategy, you have likely been underdosing the exact same gate for the exact same reason, without anyone telling you the math didn't add up. 8 proteins, 4 mechanisms, 1 threshold. But none of this matters if you don't know what happens to the muscle you're not building, because the cost isn't cosmetic, it's functional, and eventually, it's survival. Here's the part of this video that isn't about how your arms look in a mirror. When anabolic resistance goes unaddressed for years, when the gate stays closed meal after meal because the dose never clears threshold, the result has a clinical name: sarcopenia, not simple weight loss. A progressive, measurable decline in skeletal muscle mass and strength that's distinct from fat loss or general aging fatigue. It's diagnosed with grip strength tests and muscle mass scans, and it has a documented trajectory. That trajectory matters because of where it leads. Reduced muscle mass is one of the strongest predictors of fall risk in adults over $70, not because of balance alone, but because the muscle reserve required to catch yourself, to stop a stumble before it becomes a fall, simply isn't there anymore. And the data on what happens after a fall in this age group is stark. Hospitalization following a hip fracture in an adult over 70 carries a measurably elevated 1-year mortality risk compared to adults of the same age without that fracture. This is the chain. Undertreated threshold becomes anabolic resistance. Anabolic resistance becomes sarcopenia. Sarcopenia becomes fall risk. Fall risk becomes hospitalization. And hospitalization in this specific population becomes a mortality statistic. Discomfort becomes function. Function becomes longevity. That's not a metaphor, that's the literal clinical pathway documented across decades of geriatric research. I didn't build this framework from a textbook. I built it watching someone I know lose the ability to stand from a chair without using her arms, and realizing, too late for her, that the egg breakfast she trusted for 30 years never once cleared the threshold her muscle needed. Nobody told her the gate existed. Nobody told her the number that mattered wasn't the protein on the label. It was the leucine underneath it. She did everything she thought was right, and the biology didn't care about her intentions. It only counted grams. Here's the full chain. Your muscle has a gate, not a guideline. A 3-gram leucine threshold, the 2 eggs will never clear. That gate gets harder to open after 70 because of anabolic resistance. Blunted mTOR signaling, slower amino acid absorption, low-grade inflammation competing for the same pathway. Whey clears the gate fastest in the window right after you train. Cottage cheese and Greek yogurt hold it open slowly enough to protect what you built while you sleep. Salmon and beef add the cofactors, omega-3s, creatine, that make the leucine you eat actually convert into mechanical output. Tempeh and pea protein prove you can clear the gate without meat if you stop trusting beans alone to do it. None of this is about how your arms look in a mirror. It's about whether you stand up from a chair at 84 without using them. The gate doesn't care how healthy your breakfast felt. It only counts grams. Start counting the right ones.